All right. How is everybody tonight?
Doing well. Doing well.
I can't believe a month has flown by. I was pretty excited last month because my butt was leaving for Clearwater the next day. Where is the gentleman? Right over there? You were in Clearwater? You said, yep, there you go. I have a witness. But anyway, welcome everybody. We're This Fans View. We're here every month. We got a jam-packed show tonight. I don't know how we're going to fit it all in, but we're going to give it an honest baseball effort. Isn't that what they said? Balls to the wall.
Absolutely.
Anyway, we got a lot of stuff going on tonight. First and foremost, our CCC Charities is running a raffle tonight. All the money goes back to Humane Pennsylvania. Lauren will talk a little bit about it later on, explaining the walk that's coming up next month. But just know that all of the money raised tonight goes back to the animals in Berks and Lancaster County. So she reaches out. And I couldn't be happier to team up with Humane Pennsylvania. The kicker with this, every raffle ticket that goes in the basket, there's an item that's going to be drawn at the very, very end. And it just so happens to be our guest tonight, Mr. Ed Wade, is going into Philly's Wall of Fame. Y'all can do a better job than that. Come on. You just don't get that privilege just by showing up. He orchestrated that 08 team. Come on.
Yep.
Are you kidding me? All right, I wasn't there. So anyway, he's going to sign his first Phillies Wall of Fame baseball, which we're going to give away tonight. After all the raffle prizes are drawn right around, I don't know, Lauren, 8 o'clock-ish, right there, right around 8 o'clock. So dig deep into your pockets. You get 2 free ones, a buck apiece for any ones that you would like to buy. We've got another guest in the house. He's stuck in the back door. Let's welcome Dickie Knowles to the show. I can't get him to show up when he's a guest on the show, but I can get him to show up whenever he wants. So I love him. He's the best. We're neighbors. Wouldn't have it any other way. All right. Again, we're This Fans View. We're sponsored by City Distilling, as you can see by all the liquor that's up here. We've been doing this. This is show number 299. So we've been doing this for a while, and we're honored and privileged to be able to be here with Buffalo Wild Wings. Joe is the GM. I got Jess behind the bar. I got Cam, and I think Darren working the table. So again, thank you everybody. Eat up, drink up. It helps support what we do. And just one last thing before we get into the show. We got a major announcement coming for May 14th. That's about all I'm gonna throw out there. So y'all can figure out May 14th. It's a Wednesday, and we'll be here. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm going to throw it over to my partner over here, John, he puts it all together. He wires this thing all up, and we hope it works.
Yeah. But so Ed, has it sunk in yet?
No, I don't think it ever will sink in. The fact that I was even considered never crossed my mind. John Middleton had mentioned something last summer, and then we've been talking to him about it, and then about a month ago, Dr. Yardwell came in and checked my cell phone, and had a message from him, an email, telling me it was 2.5, and I still can't get over the opportunity to actually secure the house.
Yeah, no, it's definitely an honor, well deserved. you held this team together, built it all together. There was opportunities that, you could have dealt a couple of players if you wanted to call for it earlier, like in Utley or Howell, if people wanted. And, you held on to them and paid off.
Well, we were very open about the transition from Citizens Bank from the then Citizens Bank Park.
Right.
It was going to improve our economics. At the same time, we wanted to build a team that could have longevity to it. And the credit goes to our scouts and our player development people. The scouts, particularly under Mike Narrow and Marty Bolivar, for going out and finding basically all of that core nucleus.
Yeah.
In 2008, and then obviously the promises that we made about things would change when we got to Citizens Bank Park, and signing of Jim Tomey, I think clearly indicated that we were serious about that, but at the same time, the goal was to get good and stay good for the long run. I wish it had happened a little bit sooner, but the fact that it did happen, I think, is a credit to a lot of people who were involved along the way.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about what it took to get Jim Tomey here. That was, like I said, was a big piece moving into the new ballpark.
Well, we had a lot of conversation about how we could add that type of presence and that type of player into our circumstance. And part of it was to convince people like Jim and others that we were talking to about how serious we were about things being different when we got to Citizens Bank Park.
Right.
We actually signed Jim the year before we got him into the ballpark. And there were a lot of people involved in that. I mean, Ruben Morrow played with Cleveland for a while, knew Jim. Obviously, we had already hired Charlie Manning, who was our manager. And even Jim's agent played a role because Jim's agent was also Charlie's. And I had a lot of faith in Pat Mooney as a person, as an individual, and everything just aligned properly for us. So he was the guy to go after. I never thought he was going to leave Cleveland. I'm not going to say I thought it was a fool's errand to chase it the way that we did, but I really felt that the tie was going to be too much for him to walk away from. And we were through the process, and I remember sitting in my office at Veterans Stadium one day, and the phone rang, and it was Pat Mooney said he's coming. And I was basically speechless at that point in time. I had to get out of my chair, walk across the hallway to Dave Montgomery to let him know. And then got Ruben Morrow and Susan Ingersoll and other people in our front office and brought them in. But it was one of the highlights of all of our careers to be able to validate the things that we were talking about. Right. And then have Jim show up and be the guy that he was. And how quickly he was embraced by the city of Philadelphia. Everybody involved deserved a lot of credit for that.
Yeah, and like you said, it's tough to see it as a baseball fan or player, fan of sports, to see players like that leave teams. Unfortunately, it happens. But yeah, I thought the same thing. He lived in Cleveland Indians forever.
Yeah, I did too, and obviously there was talking about what about Ryan Howard.
Right.
Even from Ryan Howard's dad,
right,
who was not particularly enthralled with the fact that we were not signed to him. But Ryan at that point was still developing play.
Yes.
He still had a bit of a hole inside, offensively, defensively. He had to continue to progress, and we want time for Ryan to show up at the right time. It would have made sense to have a guy come through your system and be there opening day at Citizens Bank Park. Yes, but in retrospect, I think we made the right decision, both for the organization and certainly for Ryan as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like I said, Ryan came in and was one Rookie of the Year, so you guys did something. Right there in the long run, type of thing where his development was at the highest at the time when he came on.
Right, and Pat, Pat was able to move him along to Baltimore, and everything worked seamlessly at that point. But just having the veteran presence as well of a guy like Jim Tomey, we were bringing all these young guys up. And here's a guy who was the centerpiece in Cleveland as a very young player, along with Carlos Meyer and some other guys. So this was a been there, done that kind of guy. Had been in postseason play, and played for Charlie, so he could talk to the players, say, this is what Charlie's all about. Don't get hung up on his accent or anything like that. This is a baseball lifer who makes everybody better. And so you had an advocate sitting out there in the room, not only helping you win games, but also cultivating that winning atmosphere that unfortunately showed up and manifested itself in 2018.
Yeah, which is huge. Like I said, the accent. Coming here to Philadelphia. Charlie struggled a little bit with the fans. I was fortunate with my aunt. She's a Cleveland Indians fan at the time, and she knew we got Charlie. She's like, "You guys are gonna love him. He's a baseball fan. Just gotta pass over the language. Type of thing. Here, and then same thing with Kobe. She was, he's the best."
Well, I tell people that when I hired Charlie, first of all, we interviewed a lot of really good candidates. When I hired Charlie, Charlie was sort of treated as sort of a second-hand citizen in the city of Philadelphia. And now Charlie can't come to town and buy a drink or meal anywhere in the tri-state area because of the fact that he showed what he was capable of doing, and people embraced him, and they may not have understood at the beginning, but they certainly understood at the end.
So fast forward to where we're at today, and it's a lot of fast forward. But the likes of Jim Tony, the likes of Charlie Daniel, Larry Bella. I mean, does that set the precedence for other players wanting to come here, like the sales pitch, let's call it?
I certainly think it certainly does. Players, first of all, a lot of players are represented by the same agents, so they're getting sort of that inside look at the organization that way. They've got teammates that may have played here, who are either going to sell you on the idea or talk you out of the idea. So you've got all that stuff floating around, and the process, obviously, the length of the contract and the amount of money plays a huge role in it. At the same time, guys want to win. They can look at their paychecks and be satisfied with that. But if they're built the right way, if they're made the right way, it's about being able to win. And they look around at the competition in the club, whether they know other guys or not, but they know the way the game is played. They know what the pluses and minuses are of playing in Philadelphia, the demands that are put on as players, but how they're embraced. And things are going right, and that's manifested itself now for years and years and years. That reputation that the city had before about being so tough. Yeah, it's tough, but they're tough because they want you to succeed. They want you to be able to be there and have them standing 50,000 strong, applauding what you're doing day in and day out. So there's a whole lot of things that go into it other than the contract negotiations and the bottom line dollar thing. It's a lot about not only what the atmosphere is and the place that they're going to play, but it's also about those guys. Paul Owens used to talk about head and heart. And so did Dallas Green. I would say talent rules today, but you can't walk past character and makeup. And you've got guys, I think, on this club right now that sort of emulate what those other clubs had, the 08 clubs and others, where they've got the kind of guys that take care of themselves in their clubhouse. They're willing to talk to their teammates and pat guys on the back, or also give them a kick if you can pick every once in a while. That was the beauty of the 93 club. That was the beauty of the 80 team that Dickie Rose was on. And that was the ability of the guys that showed up in 08, was that they policed themselves. They understood what the process was. They understood what it meant to play in Philadelphia, and they understood what it took to succeed there. And fortunately, it's worked out in a number of cases. And I think this team's going to get to the finish line as well.
Yeah, it's we kind of hit a little bump in the road early. It's I looked up an interesting stat, and everybody's been busted on Alec Bowden for a little bit here, and last time I looked, last 2 years, he hit almost 100 RBIs for this team. So I just, you hit these little bumps in the road, right?
Well, I look at it this way. I looked at this before I came today. Right now, there are 15 teams in major leagues. There are 500 or below. It's if you look at the division that the Phillies are in right now. It's just it's a mess if you look at these teams. You got to look at it microscopically and see what Atlanta's doing right now and see what the other clubs are doing. But the biggest lead in Major League Baseball right now, I think, is to the National League Central Club. The first place club there is a game and a half lead. Everybody else, it's just a mismatch of what's going on right now. You can't get hung up on short samples in this game. It's not a one and done kind of thing, once a week kind of thing. It's continue to grind things out. This team right now is getting very good starting pitching. The bullpen's putting itself very, very well. The offense is struggling, but the guys that are struggling are guys that have credentials where you reference the third baseman. I think the second baseman, Scott, has been a tremendous player for a very long time. The shortstop has gotten off to the kind of start doing the types of things now I saw when he was coming from the Washington Nationals. And that type of guy who's willing to run, who's got that type of speed, who's willing to use the whole field. These guys are going to figure out coming together, but at the same time, you've got your first baseman, you've got Real Muto, you've got Schwarber, proven guys who are going to be there to carry the bulk of the important stuff. But the surrounding cast, by and large, has a chance to be really good. There are some questions right now on our team, guys struggling, there's some questions in the corner outfield type situation in center field. But those things have a chance of sort of sorting themselves out as long as the poor base guys keep doing their capability.
From a GM standpoint, you sit up in the box and you watch the games. What goes through your mind, in times like this when guys are struggling? Do you just leave it to the manager? Or do are you hands-on? What was your approach back in the day?
I had great communication with all the managers. Here was Terry Franklin at the beginning, and Bo and Charlie. Same thing was true in Houston. I was down there for 4 years. I had that type of communication. At very few team meetings, when I did, I felt it was for a purpose. Usually it was to vent. Because if things are going well, you leave things alone. And by and large, I think the best thing for the general manager and the front office people is to stay at 30,000 feet, let things happen at field level, and have those conversations with your manager, with your staff, as a way so we can tweak this. Maybe you have to think about this, and have that dialogue. Bo and I would meet every day, Charlie and I would meet every day, and have those types of conversations. And then have an internal conversation with the player development people as to what's really happening in AAA, what's really happening in everybody, to try to make sure that everybody's on the same wavelength going forward.
Good point.
And going back to your ball point there, Carl, last year you started his 18-game hitting streak in game 18 of the season. So,
there you go.
We're right there now. So it takes him a little bit to get going. And
he's such a like, you can't even call him a kid anymore. He's been around for a while, and you get a little antsy here in Philly. You know what I mean? It's a little, and you want to, win. The expectations are high. You want everyone to do great, and we always talked, or I should say, the Phillies always talked about Schwarber being a slow starter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Well, that's not the case. But it's a great bunch of guys, and I just think we got to practice patience, right, GM?
Well, you have to. Well, the fans don't. No, the fans do not have. Fans don't get paid to practice patience. You've got to approach the game the way that you think it's appropriate. That doesn't mean that's definitely has to resonate in the front office or in the general manager's office. You hear that stuff. If you choose to listen to something other than country music, which is what I listen to all the time, listen to sports talk radio, you certainly get a sense of gravity about things that you're already aware of. So, I think the best thing is to let fans be fans, at the front office and with Dave Dombrowski and the people he's got working for him there. There's no question that they're keeping their eye on the prize and are fully aware of what they can do right now, what they can't do, and what they should do right now. So that's all in good hands of the side. This team will play a lot better again. they're up there with the thick of things right now. Obviously, the division's a little bit scattered at this point in time, but they're up there because the busyness was solid. 3 or 4 guys have done a good job offensively. But the rest of this group, whether it's the third baseman, the second baseman, the shortstop, they're going to figure out what happens in the outfield and what needs to be seen. But you've got this veteran presence there that's going to keep some equilibrium going. And I think Rob Thompson and the staff obviously are even field guys, want to be throwing stuff in the clubhouse and have a lot of players go meetings. They're going to help the players figure it out.
All right. How's everybody doing? I see a lot of food. I see a lot of servers running around. Got to make sure we take care of everybody tonight. Jess, Dan, Eric. I'm sure Joe's floating around here somewhere. I got to keep Joe happy because we gotta pay the bills. So, couple of things as we continue through the night. I put a flyer out on all the tables for Union, Pennsylvania. The walk is coming up, and I want Lauren to grab the mic for a minute or two. Saturday, May 3rd. She can talk about it a little bit. She puts us all together and puts in a lot of hours. So give us sell us on the walk, May 3rd.
This is our 40th annual Walk for the Animals. As my dad mentioned, it benefits Union, Pennsylvania. So we have shelters and services in Berks and Lancaster County, but we also oversee a lot of stuff happening throughout the state of Pennsylvania. We're looking to raise about $100,000. So anyone who registers to walk or makes a donation, all that money goes back to us in support of all the animals that we're working with and the people and programs in the community.
And I'll blame it on John. We forgot to bring in the Willie Mays jersey.
Oops.
Yeah, it was.
I'll blame it on John.
We normally do, so.
So I'm going to continue.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Why stop now?
we're not going to stop.
Why stop now? Keep going.
We're gonna get that Willie Mays jersey in here. We've got another CCC charity going on. We're selling 100 tickets for a free Willie Mays jersey. It'll be here. I don't know.
7:32.
Give me a few minutes. We'll bring it in and put it on display, and you can go back there and see Sue. I think her sidekick. I see Kelly. I see Kelly. Thank you, Kelly. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for taking care of the fish during spring training. All right. But anyway, there are some unbelievable raffle prizes over there. How about a Pete Rose, Bob Booth, 1980s autographed photo catch? So just some incredible stuff. The GM was talking about Larry Boa. Well, how about a Larry Boa autographed jersey, 1980 World Series champ? We talked about Charlie Daniel. There's Charlie Daniel autographs all over the table there. So dig in. They're a buck apiece. Just know that all the money's going back to Union, Pennsylvania. And I'm a little bit partial. I'll admit it. But she does a damn good job. So help support the cause tonight. It's a good one. It's a damn good one. So dig in and let's make this a real good night. So with all that being said, are we ready for trivia? Do you want to take a run at some trivia?
We can do that.
All right. Here's the deal. Tops has hooked us up again tonight with some trading cards, very similar to last month. So if you open them here and you just are the lucky person who draws an autographed J.C. Kelsey autographed card, there's a $500 bounty on the card. So just know that, but you have to open it here tonight. You have to win the trivia question first and foremost. So Lauren's in charge there. Raise your hand, throw out your answer, and good luck to everybody.
There you go. All right, in honor of Ed being inducted into the Phillies Wall of Fame, we're going to do some Phillies Wall of Fame tribute. So, what was the first year of the induction of the Wall of Fame? What was the first year the Wall of Fame was available?
Okay, I got a hand back here.
1990 is incorrect. Not even the right decade.
Go ahead up there at that front table. Dad, what do they got? Oh. 1996.
Nope.
1996, okay.
A little bit earlier. Nope, a little bit earlier.
2003, got it. 1978.
That is correct. Who was the first inductee?
Is that the second
No,
question?
no,
Or
it's just to
Do you know
see,
who the first
just to see if
inductee
you
was?
remember, you have
Do
to
you know who
Google
the
it.
first inductee was? No, they do not know.
Hall of Famer Robin Robbins. All right, how many of the Wall of Fame members made it to the Hall of Fame, the Baseball Hall of Fame? Now, this is just for Phillies, because back in earlier, they used to do Phillies and Athletics as the Hall of Fame. So we're just doing Phillies Hall of Famers.
Five.
Come on, the Phillies are better than that.
Mike? 8.
Come on, folks, let's go. I got a better team than this.
3.
Better team than 8 and 5.
10.
You're getting closer, but
Go ahead. 15.
that's more respectable.
Okay, go ahead. 16.
16 is correct.
There we go.
There you go. Good job. All right. Where was the original location of the Wall of Fame at Citizens Bank Park before it got moved in 2018?
Go ahead.
Well, it's in Ashburn Alley now as well. But where specifically?
Front table.
We can go with that. Be at the batter's eye, but yeah, right by the bullpen. Yep. Right off to the side of the
Are
bullpen.
we're giving that to them?
Yeah, we're giving it to them. It's right there. It's right by the bullpen. Good job. All right, since 1978, how many years were there no inductees inducted?
Two years, is that your guess? 2 years with no inductees.
That is close, but that is incorrect.
Okay. 3.
3 is correct. There you go. 1983 was the first year because they did the all-century team. And 2017 was another year, and 2020 because of the pandemic. All right, what was the last year the Wall of Fame inducted a player from both the Phillies and the Athletics?
Dickie Knowles said that's too hard.
Oh, come on.
So,
Carl said it was a great question for that.
That's a great question.
judging by the no hands, I think Dickie might be right.
No,
We got a request from Mike Schmidt to repeat the question.
Okay.
what was the last year of the Wall of Fame that the Wall of Fame inducted a player from both the Phillies and the Athletics?
Okay, we got 2 hands, let's see.
1999.
Incorrect. They were partying like 1999.
2003.
That is the correct answer. 2003 with the at the end of the bell.
Mike, would you have had that? Yeah.
Who was the inductee? 2003.
Who were the 2 inductees?
Well, the last athletic was Rube Oldring.
Love that old group.
Yeah. All right. Who was the first Philly inducted into the Wall of Fame that was not a baseball Hall of Fame? In 1982. Part of the Whiz Kids.
Whoa, now he's throwing out hits.
I'm teasing them now. I got them on the ropes. Is that what I'm
Go ahead, Mike.
Dylan, is this correct? Good job.
Wow.
Dickie, was that a tough question too?
Now we're being evaluated.
Oh yeah. This is you're getting credibility when you get
We're
credit.
getting critiqued by
Yeah.
the great Dickie knows. Come on.
Exactly. Yeah. There we go. Good job, everybody.
Is that it?
That's
We're all
it.
good?
We're all good.
Give away all the prizes. Everybody good? Remember, if you open a pack of tops, you can pull that bounty card, $500 come your way. Again, thank you everybody. We have a lot of fun putting this all together. The Willie Mays autographed jersey has made its way to the back there. We're selling $25 raffle tickets. Once we sell 100 tickets, we will draw the winner. So I'll be more than happy to, if we get to 100 tonight, I'll be more than happy to draw it. And again, the money goes to the Humane Pennsylvania for all the animals. This is Lauren's company, does a phenomenal job, and we just love the heck out of supporting what she does. So again, thank you everybody who's bought some raffle tickets. Dig in tomorrow, Friday's payday, right? Do people still get paid on Fridays?
Sometimes every other.
Yeah, payday's coming, so hit up the ATM, hit up, we take that out, whatever form of payment we need. So, I want to turn it over to Mr. Layton for however long he wants to take, and talk a little bit. I know we started the show with, the Phillies Wall of Fame, but this is come full circle? Is that the proper,
Well, I think if people go back to 2005 when we missed the playoffs by a game, and people sort of look at that point that we had our chance to get there, didn't get there, and obviously Pat Dillon came in and finished it off. But I felt strongly that people that we had working. We were headed in the right direction and just couldn't quite get there quickly enough. But that's the essence of baseball. And to be succeeded by Pat Dillon and Cooperstown Hall of Fame certainly softened a little bit. And in all honesty, I was sound asleep in 2008 in my apartment in Houston before these won the World Series. And my phone started to blow up with text messages saying that it's like you were Pat Dillon said about it. I had no idea what they were talking about, but as it turned out, Pat gave the unbelievable remark that this was Ed Wade's team. And in saying that, it wasn't, I took it as a compliment, obviously, but I also took it as a validation of what a lot of really good people were doing for a very long time to get to the finish line. We're talking about Mike Garbuck and Marty Wilbur from the scouting side, but our whole organization was all pulling in the same direction. I sent word down to our minor leaguers, so we needed to teach our players how to play the Phillies right, knowing full well what it takes to play in Philadelphia. And those guys embraced the opportunity to do exactly that. I keep looking back at Dickie at the back of the room, and he knows exactly the guys I'm talking about. Veteran guys who were willing to do whatever they could to advance the cause. And everybody was pulling shoulder to shoulder. I wish it had happened sooner, but the reality is that the fact that it got there was credit to a whole lot of people who were involved along the way.
what, I'm gonna throw a crazy question at you, because I can be a little crazy sometimes, as John will attest to it. Phillies, Astros.
On all levels, I would say the advantage goes to the Phillies.
Very good. Let's give it up for the Phillies. What
There
do you
you go.
say, huh?
There we go.
Yeah, from the standpoint of, we're talking about an organization that has been a foundation of this area for so long, part of the family, I started the day after my 21st birthday as an intern in the Phillies PR department with Larry Shank. Rudy Parker was in the building every day as the president of the club, as the owner of the club, as down to the guys who ever want to be around. And the environment, the atmosphere that the Carpenter family brought, and Bill Giles coming in from Houston and bringing the ideas that he brought into the organization, and then being able to put together the group that brought the club from the Carpenter family, and the way that group, including the Middleton family, at that point in time, embraced what we were doing and gave us the support that we needed. You know, people have to remember that our economics, as we said, were going to be different from when we had the Citizens Bank card. It was just the economics were what they were. The ownership group gave us as much support as feasible, and we did the best that we could with that, knowing though that again everything was going to change when we got the Citizens Bank card. Citizens Bank card was by and large a Bill Giles' dream. The fact that we were able to stay in the sports complex area instead of moving to Center City, I think it was a big decision that a lot of people were involved in. David Montgomery, particularly, knowing that our fans had a comfort level in where it was. All these different things factored into the plan that was being executed, whether it was the facility itself, the composition of the club, the fan experience. Everybody was pulling in the same direction. Sometimes the rope got a little short, but at the end of the day, I think that atmosphere that was created, beginning with the Carpenter family, all the way through the youth that owns the club now, exemplifies what the city of Philadelphia demands and what it deserves.
Very good. Again, to the room, questions, comments, if you'd like to ask our GM tonight, a question, we'll give the mic to you. Raise your hand, we'll bring the mic over. You got a question, he's got an answer. So it's an honor to have him back with us again. It's baseball season, right? It's hitting season, as Charlie says.
Oh, yeah.
So we're ready. So if you guys got questions, feel free to throw them. We got a mic coming right over here. Love to hear from you guys.
All right, we got a question.
So, Mr. Wade, you and I talked about this with Skip and Skip Wilson, and I wanted to ask if we could talk about how you implemented some of the things Skip taught you in the Phillies.
He's referencing Skip Wilson, who was the baseball coach at Temple. First of all, I was a walk-on at Temple. I came from a small Catholic school in Gardendale, Pennsylvania. I was a walk-on of the team. Probably the only Division I school in the history of college baseball where the coach never cut a player. Skip never cut a player. But Skip was a great mentor, not only from the standpoint of a lot of young guys showing up, even small town guys like myself, but his knowledge of the game. There was we had one particular running drill that we did with Skip that I ended up having our guys actually adopt both the Phillies minor league organization and also the Astros. You put a guy at every base, a guy on each side of the batter's box, and you would, instead of just running laps around the field, the guy at third base would tag and score, the guy at second base would cut the bag the right way at third base and score, the guy at first to third, the two guys in the batter's box, getting up at first and second, and you just run through the drill. And it had a lot of sensibility to it. But Skip was a great personality, a great baseball man. He was so tied to the city of Philadelphia from the standpoint of not only the work that he did in Temple baseball, he was in line to become a basketball coach at one point in time at Temple. Just a wonderful guy. I've got a picture of him shortly before his death in my office. We were just sitting by a tree, just looking out. And all that I can envision is on the other side of that picture, if you can see it, he's watching the ball game someplace.
Great question. I assume you're a Temple alum? Gotcha. All right, good job. Great question. Anyone else? Questions, comments? We're talking baseball, Phillies. We'll even talk Astros if you want. How about that Dickie knows? Does Dickie have a question? Is there anything that you
He's
can?
been commenting on the Phillies game.
Uh-oh,
He's not happy.
he's not happy. Are they losing?
4-0.
Oh, jeez.
But then second and third, though, Harper or Schwarber were up. So
It's early.
it's early.
Let's stay positive. How many years you been here tonight?
This baseball's gotta drive Ed way crazy. Infield hit, base on balls, we're 4-0 lead, Ed. That's baseball today.
It's only a game. So when I was throwing all that stuff up in the general manager's box and cussing and screaming and slamming down phones, it was just a game. I just didn't realize it.
See, they're fans too, right?
Lauren tries to explain that to us too.
Well, I've got a story for you guys. We talked about old timers. When I became general manager, I really got Paul Owens back involved in the organization. And Paul would sit up in the general manager's box during games, and he would smoke a cigarette, and it got down almost to his fingers every time, and the ashes never fell out. He never figured out how he did that. And something happened on the field one night, something that I took the wrong. I got really excited, and I slammed the phone, and I hit the wall, and this kind of stuff, and I'm fussing and everything. And Pope, everybody called him Pope sitting behind me goes, Eddie, you should try the chocolate chip and ice cream tonight. It's really good. I said, Pope, you know what you can do with your chocolate chip ice cream.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we take things seriously. I'll tell another story about myself in that regard. We attend Our Lady of King Peace Church in Pittman, New Jersey, and the since passed with the Monsignor Cook, right off the boat from Ireland. He and I became very close friends. He was sort of really a father confessor for me. So we're at the vet, and I invited Monsignor to come to the game, and the general manager's box was in one of the radio booths on the fourth level, right behind home plate. And then down there on the same level down the left field line was called the family box. So Monsignor was sitting in the family box. I was standing in the back of the GM box, and something bad happened on the field. And I took my fist and I slammed it against the wall next to me by saying the GP thing very loudly. And out of the corner of my eye, I see Monsignor Cook walk in, go down the steps, go back out the steps, head back into the family box. I tell people I am the only person in the history of Upper Stadium to have his confession heard in the ballpark. True story.
That's classic.
Yeah, good one. All right, where are we at? In this, the hour of Buffalo Wild Wings? What? Are you writing a new novel?
Finishing up.
Between general manager's job, I started writing a novel. It's a non-sports novel. Set in a small town like Carbondale where I grew up. There's a lot of shooting, skydiving, things blowing up, all that kind of stuff. But I set it aside when I got the Astros GM job, and then about a year ago, I picked it back up and finished it, and then I wrote a sequel to it. So it's Preserved Honor is the first one. The second one's called Delayed Honor. The second one's Preserved Honor. Self-focused on it. It was a great little exercise, kept me busy, kept me semi-sane, and but I'm not sure I'm going to try to do it again.
There you go. Hey, we got a table of Buffalo Wild Wings swag up here. Come up, help yourself. Grab an item or two. It's compliments of Buffalo Wild Wings and Hank. That's it.
Hank the Buffalo.
Hank the Buffalo. So anyway, again, I talked earlier in the show about next month. Well, it's actually like the next 3 months because it's baseball season, right? That's the theme. We got a lot of baseball going on.
Yes, we do.
But next month is extremely near and dear to my heart because I'm a big supporter of the Perry Dalton Foundation, and that will be Wednesday, May 14th. And we've already confirmed a number of Darren's teammates. So it's gonna be a packed house, so you might wanna reserve your table, like, yeah.
Before you leave.
Before you leave, we're expecting probably anywhere between 6 and 8 of Darren's teammates, friends, who knows? It's gonna be a great event. All the money's gonna go back to the Darren Dalton Foundation. They do a phenomenal job, and we're honored. We've been working with them the past couple of years. So we're really looking forward to this one. This is gonna be really, really special. So, save the date, mark it down. Johnny and I have been going crazy with this one, and we just don't know where. We may end up having more guests than patrons. I'm not sure. This could be crazy, so should be a good one.
Yep.
So we're looking forward to it. So anyway, we've got the next couple of months also booked, but I'm not throwing those out there right now because we don't need to. But
We like the tease.
it's a pretty cool tandem of Phillies. So just know there's a lot of baseball in the air here at Buffalo Wild Wings, and we're gonna have fun with it. So. Johnny, what else you got?
Well, Ed wants to talk a little bit about the Dalton Foundation.
Oh, let's do it.
I would highly recommend that everybody come to that. We had the misfortune of between Tuck McGraw and Darren going down well before anybody ever expected. In both cases, but I'm talking more about Darren's situation, a lot of people came and really formed a huge bond with Darren over that difficult period of time that he went through. Not only people that he had known for a long time, but people that were total strangers. The guy that runs the program, Brett Daddy, is actually from my hometown, Carbondale. And I attended last year, I think they golf outing that they had, and they got a big event at the Live casino there right by the ballpark. But I really think this is something people should get behind. Obviously, it's too late for people like Darren, but to be able to use Darren's courage and what he went through as the impetus for people to really get involved and financially support something like this, because you never know when somebody in your family may have the same problem confront them, but also you never know when that couple of bucks that you put into the till leads to a cure for some of this stuff, or something that completely eradicates it. So if you're trying to get involved in things, I can tell you firsthand that the people involved in this one are all about trying to find a cure for what Darren went through. So if you have a chance to spend some time and have some food here, and if they bring some of those guys out, a lot of good players show up for the golf tournament. If they show up over here, I think it'll be a really good time if you get a chance to meet some of the guys who were your heroes from their time.
Yeah, for sure. I was, I worked with Darren quite a bit, in the sports memorabilia business, and, one of the last signings he did, was at my store, and kind of gives me goosebumps thinking about it, but just know that the raffle tables back there will be filled with Aaron Dalton autographed merchandise. So I can't drag you here, but just know you're going to have a great night, and we're going to honor a good man. He was very popular amongst the fans. I don't think there's a baseball question that they talk about during a Phillies broadcast. And Croc's always bringing up Darren, LA's always bringing up Darren. He's just was a leader amongst all these men. Maybe you can talk about it, Ed, a little bit about the Phillies trading, Dutch to the Marlins, so that he could win that title, which was pretty cool.
That's exactly what happened. Lee Thomas was the general manager, and we were struggling that season, and it was clear that at that point in time we were going to have to bust up that particular team that played so well for us, and it was a tribute to the type of guy that Darren was, that Lee and Will Giles thought that it was appropriate to give him a chance to get that, knowing that we were going to be several years away from really having the opportunity to contend for something like that. So it was a genuine act on Lee's and Bill Giles' part to really think of Darren. That's the way that Darren was received in the entire organization. You knew who ran the clubhouse. Jim Figosi and others were the manager, but Jim particularly knew that he didn't have to go out into the clubhouse and police the area. That Darren had that covered. Was able to reel in, show him when he needed to be reeled in, and nice when he needed to be reeled in. But as you said, Johnny Krug mentions it all the time on the broadcast. That relationship, that one-on-one relationship, really resonated throughout the entire clubhouse and for that matter, the entire organization.
Yeah, that's that's just part of the Phillies family, but it's such a good, in a good way. To be able to honor a man like that and to be able to build a foundation like that. I was just involved with the one down in Clearwater, and I think there was probably 25 of his, these guys, I'll call them, what I mean, because they were there. Some traveled in, some live in the area, but just a phenomenal event that Brad does, Brett does. Looking forward to it on May 14th. So hopefully, hopefully we can raise some money and pass it along and get the message out, as much as we possibly can. Because we've lost a number of Phillies, to things that, I hate talking about it, but, it's part of life. That we've lost a lot of good men to cancer.
There's no question about that, and it's great to be seeing some advances that are taking place at this point in time. But when you get people like Tucker McGraw, who's so world renowned as a player, and obviously his son Tim and his background, I think that brings greater attention to it. Unfortunately, the further we get from their playing days and the time that they were around, it's harder to have that type of conversation with people actually know the type of player, the type of person you're talking about. But what Brett Dowd is doing and others are doing with regard to Dutch's thing keeps not only his presence alive, so to speak, but also points to the fact that even the greatest of heroes that we have sometimes have issues that are beyond their control, and sooner we can find proof in these types of things, the longer we'll have for whether it's our members of our family or our friends or the people who we idolize in sports world, gives them a great chance to make this for a long time.
For sure. Again, thanking everybody for coming out tonight, thanking Ed Wade for giving up his night to share some stories and just take it all in. And as we wrap it up, what else you got?
How close is August 1st in your mind? And you're doing your speech and remember all the people were like as we were talking about earlier.
I said earlier that I am a teary Irishman.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
I'm thinking the over and under for me getting to a speech, no matter how short it is probably not very long before I hit that spot. Whether it's talking about my family or
Right, exactly.
or the fans. I'm already doing it.
Exactly.
Come on.
Exactly.
If J.C. Kelsey can cry, anything can cry. Come on.
Nobody's going to make fun of Jason Kelsey.
Nobody's making fun of you lately.
No.
I will say this: if I start crying, people making fun of me, I think he's still sitting here, and I know who to send to get the crowd under control.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely an emotional, like you said, emotional thing for anybody, to be honored that way.
Well, you talked about the guys and how many guys went on the wall. And,
Yeah.
I went back and started looking at, I started in 1977 as an intern at PR and went to a bunch of different clubs. And so I had a lot of interaction with players, whether it was a PR guy or baseball operations or as general manager. And I think there are like 22, 23 guys in the Hall of Fame who I had a chance to work with. Nolan Ryan, obviously Steve Carlton and oh, such a huge number of players. Some of them I even forgot that I'd actually worked with for a short period of time when Doc Sutton joined the Astros. I was there for a short period of time before I left over to the Pirates. But then you get Willie Starch and now Dave Parker and so on and so forth. And just think how privileged it was to be able to work with some of those guys, get to know them, become friends with a lot of them. It's again, guy from Carbondale, Pennsylvania. I don't understand how I got to where I got, but certainly appreciative that it did happen.
Yeah, well, we'll be definitely watching for sure. Watching to see how long that until the years come out.
All right, questions, comments, anything as we put the wrap on this phenomenal evening? Again, you know, this is special, so maybe you guys could come out and partake. Hit the raffle table because we're going to draw all the tickets probably around. Dickie, what time you want to draw the raffles?
Whatever you want.
While we were talking, Dickie was taking some out and putting his in, so I'm not sure that.
So that's how he always
Not sure
works.
it's going to be a level playing
I
field.
really thought I was coming in the Willie Mays show. So, yeah, I like to say something about Ed Wade before we get done. Nobody have any questions? But, Ed, I want to thank you for your work ethic that you installed in the Philadelphia Phillies. I know it helped me. I didn't become a professional until you taught me to become a professional. I thought I was, but you taught a lot of people that I've been around baseball for 51 years, but I don't think I've seen a year where so many people are so happy for someone to go up to the ball and play as they are after years. So I think it's warranted, and I want to congratulate you. But all the stuff that you did for so many different people are going to be out there clapping when you go out to that podium and give that talk. So it's going to be a great night. So congratulations.
I appreciate
Well
it.
said,
Thank you.
well said.
Absolutely.
All right, with all that, Dickie's bringing tears to everyone's eyes, so.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Raffles, Willie Mays, I don't know, Wings, beer, Jess, Dan, Joe. How about a big hand for everybody? How about a bigger hand for Ed Wade? We will see you back here on May 14th. Thank you, everybody.